You know, I still dream about the silence. Not the silence of an empty room, but the silence that comes right after you've jumped. The moment between leaping from the cliff and the desperate hope that the water below will catch you. That breathless, terrifying quiet where every single one of your doubts screams at you at once. And for me, that silence had a sound. It was the sound of a single car engine early in the morning driving across the George Washington Bridge. I was 30 years old. I had a job on Wall Street. A good job. A respectable, safe, promising career. And I was driving to work, like I did every day. But that morning was different. My boss was in the passenger seat, and I was about to tell him I was quitting. To do what? To sell books. Online. I remember the rain on the windshield, the grey light of a New York dawn, the rhythmic thump, thump, thump of the bridge cables passing by. And my heart was pounding so loud I was sure he could hear it. I told him. I said, I'm going to chase this crazy idea I have. And I remember the look on his face. It wasn't anger. It was pity. A kind of, oh, Jeff, what a shame. You had so much potential. He took me for a long walk through Central Park. Tried to talk some sense into me. It's a good idea, Jeff, he said. But it's a better idea for someone who doesn't have a good job yet. And for a moment, just a moment, I considered it. I considered turning back, going to the office, sitting down at my desk, and letting this dream, this fragile, insane little dream, just fade away. But I couldn't. That drive, that decision, it didn't come from nowhere. It came from a lifetime of curiosity. I remember being a boy, spending summers on my grandfather's ranch in Texas. He was a man who could fix anything, a rocket scientist to my young eyes. He taught me how to mend a broken tractor, how to weld, how to build. And he taught me that you don't get upset about problems. You just fix them. You invent a solution. I'd look up at the stars from that dusty ranch and feel this immense pull, this need to build, to create, to understand how things work. That curiosity never left me. It followed me to Princeton. It followed me to that hedge fund in New York. And it started whispering to me about the internet. This thing that was growing, exploding, a frontier. I saw a statistic. Web usage was growing by 2,300% a year. 2,300%. You don't see curves like that very often in life. And I just knew, I had to be a part of it. So I made a list of 20 possible things to sell online. And books were at the top. Millions of them. A product that could be digitized, that could be shipped anywhere. A product that could build a universal store. And so, I jumped. The beginning. It wasn't glamorous. It was a garage. A 3-bedroom house in Seattle with a converted garage. The constant sound of a printer printing packing slips. The whir of a computer fan. My wife, Mackenzie, and I, we packed books on our hands and knees on that cold concrete floor. We'd drive them to the post office ourselves. I remember those nights, so clearly, sitting at that cheap, folding table, my back aching, looking at the numbers. The website would crash. We'd get one order a day, if we were lucky. And the doubt, it was a constant companion. Are you wasting your life? Were they right? Are you crazy? People thought I was crazy, a Wall Street guy packing boxes in a garage. But in those quiet, desperate moments, something else was happening. Something I couldn't have planned. We were building something more than a bookstore. We were building a culture of obsession. Obsession over the customer. I'd get emails from people, And I'd forward them to the whole team with a single question mark. And that meant, why haven't we fixed this yet? It wasn't anger. It was a relentless, shared desire to be better, to invent. We started adding things. Customers who bought this also bought that. One-click ordering. We launched Amazon Web Services from our own internal struggle to manage servers. We looked at our own problems and asked, I bet other people have this problem too. How can we build a service to fix it? It was never about selling a thing. It was about building a new kind of machine, a machine for human ingenuity. But the world didn't see it that way, not for a long, long time. When the dot-com bubble burst, it was brutal. Our stock fell from over $100 to barely $6. The headlines, they were writing our obituary. They said Amazon was a joke, a house of cards, that I was a fool who got lucky and was now being exposed. And you have to understand, in those moments, the silence comes back. That same silence from the car on the bridge. But this time, it's louder. Because it's not just your career on the line. It's the careers of thousands of people who believed in you. It's the dreams of every single person in that company. I had to look them in the eye and tell them to keep building, to ignore the noise, to have faith. And that is the hardest thing. To have faith when every single piece of evidence seems to be against you. But we kept building. We launched the Kindle because I believed the book itself, this beautiful, ancient object, could be reinvented. We looked at logistics and built a fulfillment network that seemed like science fiction. We took bigger and bigger bets. And slowly, the storm began to clear. Success. It doesn't feel the way you think it will. The day we became the everything store, the day the stock finally recovered, the day we changed the world, there was no parade, no single moment of triumph. It was quiet. I was in a meeting, and someone handed me a note. It was just a number, a big number, and I looked at it. I folded the paper, I put it in my pocket, and I went back to the meeting. Because the building isn't over. It's never over. So what's the point of all this? Why am I telling you this story? It's not about selling books or building a company. It's not even about money. It's about that silence, that moment on the bridge, that moment of absolute terror before you commit. That is the moment that defines you, not the success, not the failure, but the decision to leap. We all have a bridge to cross. We all have a version of that drive to work, where the safe, sensible path is laid out in front of us. And the crazy, improbable, beautiful dream is whispering from the other side. Your curiosity, that thing that pulls at you in the quiet of the night, that is your compass. It is the most true thing about you. Don't let the world, with all its sensible advice and its pitying looks, ever talk you out of it. Embrace the silence, and then jump. Build your own story, your own adventure, because the world will always try to convince you that your cliff is too high, your dream is too big. Don't you ever believe it.